when you go through scriptures and you begin to examine how different people came into the call to do one kingdom service or the other, just so you know, kingdom service did not start from the New Testament. Every point in time, even the dominion mandate upon Adam in the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 28 was kingdom service. You will notice that everybody comes into the kingdom service in different ways. I actually want to bring in an examination of one person today that gives us an insight into one of the ways that people come into kingdom service. Now, when you go through all of these, you see those that came in by birth. For instance, the Levitical priests, they didn't choose to be born into the Levitical tribe, but they came into it, so they need to just serve, right? We have those who came in by passion. For instance, we see somebody like David. Of course, there must have been prophecy on David, but you could see the passion. Who is this uncircumcised Philistine? You get that? There are those that came in shyly, somebody like Saul, and different ways. If you read the book of Amos will tell you that I was simply serving when I heard the voice of God and I came. Alright. There's another way people come into the kingdom service, and that's by force. Alright, let's give a background of that. And the person we want to look at today is Simon the Cyrene. I know many times when we study this book, the story, and we come to Simon the Cyrene, we seem not to be able to examine how he came into that scene. We just, especially for us Africans, we get excited that, yay, an African was included in the journey of Jesus Christ to Golgotha. But just so you know, when you read that, you can find the story in the book of Matthew chapter 27 verse 22, Mark 15:21, and then Luke 23:26. Each of these verses stated clearly that it was by force that Simon the Cyrene came into that setting. Right. Now, I believe personally, and you can think along with me, that the process of Jesus leading all the way to Golgotha would be something heaven holds very sacredly. And that means I want to believe in the personality of Simon the Cyrene, that he had a sincere heart towards God. He may not have known Jesus Christ deeply enough. He probably was one of those crowd moving around just peeping and saying, who is this guy they've been talking about? Do you understand me? He must, I believe very, very well that he was a well-meaning person. Probably we can't call him a Christian. Maybe after that he became a Christian, right? But I believe that he had a heart that God had searched and had seen that this is a useful vessel. He probably was not very available for service or not willing for service, because the context we see here was that Mark said he was compelled. Matthew said he was compelled. Luke said the soldiers seized him. In other words, it was by force. Because of course, whether you like it or not, the matter of the cross is by force. Right? Doing certain kinds of kingdom service, it's easy to see the whole luxury behind certain things and saying, I want to be like this thing, I want to be, it's fine. But there are many parts of the journey in this kingdom service, especially your mode of calling, that will most likely be by force. You may be compelled. And in my mind, while I was picturing all of those things, I just thought of, this is just me thinking to myself, that the soldiers represent the angels of the Lord, right? That can force somebody to come into the kingdom service. Now, you may say, okay, does God force people? No. You're not going to see some physical hand force you. But how God works, and even the devil works, right? Because the spirit veins do not have a direct impact upon the earth. They may, but most of the times it's that they influence situations around you to be able to constrain you, but your will is still at play, right? Simon the Cyrene could have carried that cross and decided not to move and just stay there. He would receive his lashes, of course, but he was compelled. What I'm bringing here is this. However one you see it, he helped Jesus carry that cross. He helped Jesus. His name had to come in. Jesus Christ made an illustration of, or we have an illustration of a woman, Mary, who took a spikenard or the jar of alabaster, and broke the perfume on Jesus' feet, cleaning his feet with her hair and tears and so on. And Jesus said, wherever this gospel is being preached, this woman's name will be part of it. I believe that Simon the Cyrene's coming into the system of the gospel will not have been by accident. And because he did that, Jesus ensured that his name will be part of the names that will be listed, that somebody helped God. Let me put it in that context. Do you understand what it means? Now, of course, it was by compulsion. I'm saying to you that it's true that it was by compulsion. Nevertheless, it's possible that you too are constrained because God really wants you to be part of the system. Now, if you continue to not say yes to it, at some point, God may just find someone else. But I'm saying that you may have seen all the constraints around you. Why not pay attention and say, Lord, is this my own way of saying I have to submit to this system? Now, if you have discerned very well, why not just say yes and then carry the cross? I'm saying this because sometimes even the reward of God stepping in to make your name known and so on, or making his glory revealed through you, because of course every vessel that God uses to make his glory known through will also be known. Okay? But if God is going to glorify himself through you, sometimes it may be that you yielded by force. And I'm saying that this is something that we see through scripture. A very good example will be in the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9 verse 16. Paul said, I preach the gospel, it's true. But you see, I see it as a necessity that is laid on me. Sometimes I used to think that Paul is so passionate about the gospel. It's true that he's passionate, but there's a limit to passion. Somebody, they stone you, they flog you, you almost drown. But necessity is laid upon me. Some of us, we have to come into this kingdom service by necessity. Not because we like it, but we are constrained. We are constrained to make sure that this thing continues to move. And you may be constrained. And I want to encourage some of us who are already in it by constraint. I'm saying that you don't think that there is a God who sees your labor and does not reward. He rewards. Now, story has it that there was one of the two children of Simon the Cyrene. Possibly, I can't say for exactly in exact terms that those were his children, because they mentioned in the book of Mark the names of his two children were mentioned, Alexander and Rufus. Now, somewhere in the book of Acts, Rufus was mentioned. Somewhere in maybe 1st or 2nd Timothy, Alexander was mentioned. It doesn't necessarily mean that these were his children, but I want to be very sure that God will not let that labor go unrewarded. Just like your own faithful labor in the vineyard will not go unrewarded. And you may be constrained, but please keep it up. Keep carrying the cross. This thing will not go unrewarded. I hope it's been a blessing to you and it's been an encouragement to you. God bless you.